Hello. In this video, I'll be reviewing Thinking Fast and Slow by somebody Kleinman, whose first name I can't remember. Just a quick, I guess, I was going to say spoiler-free review. I'm not really sure if you can spoil a non-fiction book, but I guess the quick review is that this book is really interesting and enjoyable. It presented in I guess a way that makes a lot of sense to a layman, which is certainly me. And it's fun, and it makes you feel smart, and perhaps does make you smarter. And it's just sort of an interesting kind of, I guess, quick whistle-stop tour through this kind of aspect of psychology, and I had a good time. The slightly longer sort of review is that in some places it kind of meanders a little bit, and in some places I sort of found myself being like, aren't you doing the same sort of, what's the word, like cognitive illusions that you're literally warning us about? So there's a little bit of irony in there. And also it has come out, since this book has come out, that a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a significant percentage of the studies in this are suffering from the replication crisis in psychology, which is where the studies are considered to now be unreliable because nobody can replicate them because they were done in very specific circumstances with very specific people. And so I will say that it sort of does suffer from, when I read that, it kind of took its credibility down a little bit. But with that said, it's still very interesting, and some of its sort of conclusions, I would say, don't require a study. You can sort of just see them within yourself, which I would, I submit that it's perhaps not the most scientific perspective, but it is at least an interesting point to make. So overall, I guess this is going to be a really quick review. Overall, I would just say that this book is, it's enjoyable, and it's fun, and it's not heavy reading, it's not heavy going, and it's kind of enjoyable to, I guess, learn a bit more about yourself. And it's presented it's sort of structured, I should say, in a way that's quite useful and sort of enables you to engage with it quite well. And so overall, I would say that if you are looking for kind of a non-fiction book about psychology, this is probably where I'd start. Not that I'm a savant of non-fiction books about psychology, but I guess I'd just say that this is sort of where I started, so to speak. And I had a good time. So yeah, pick it up if this is sort of your thing, or maybe even if it's not your thing, because I wouldn't say that I'm like sort of going out scrounging for psychology textbooks. But with that said, I did find this quite interesting, and I think that's probably just sort of reflective of the fact that people are interested in learning about people, even if that happens to come under psychology, then so be it. Rather than necessarily that I have a love for psychology, and I think it's probably quite common amongst the general population. So yeah, honestly, I would recommend picking up this book, and maybe just have a little read of a couple of articles about how reliable the studies are in this book, and maybe you can come to your own conclusions about whether how much you're going to sort of believe, I guess. But most of it, I think, is fairly interesting and fairly useful. So yeah, I'll give it a read if you want to.